No dash lights, but we have headlights. Does that look familiar? I'll show you how to fix it. So you don't have any dash lights, huh? All right. This little guy right here. Before you change them out, a couple things you should check. This green wire right here. That wire powers that fuse right there. It gets its power. The orange wire. That's your main power going into the switch. Okay? This blue wire is your power, your lights, your clearance lights and your headlights going out. Okay, so now what I did is I jumpered from the orange wire to the green wire. I just ran some power, and now my dash lights are on. Oh, hold on, you'll see this. Look at there. It's a bright day out. I don't know if you can see that or not. Off. On. See them flickering? Hold on. Hold on. There we go. So my dash lights are on. Off. On. Okay. Same thing with my heater. You can't really tell it's a bright day. It's a beautiful day out right now. But I assure you, oh, there. It's flickering just because I have a bad connection with this jumper. Turn the lights on. We now have our headlights are on, warning chime. Disconnect that. We kill our dash lights. Plug her back in. We have our dash lights. All right. See that? So what I'm doing is the orange wire is your main power in. Now, the switch is buggered. The reason why the switch is buggered is because the aftermarket stereo, this is Kenwood, it's a good unit, but it's pulling too much amps, I'm assuming, and kept popping that fuse. And it burnt out the dimmer. I'll take apart the dimmer and I'll show you there's a kind of a melted spot in there. Okay, here we go. So this green wire, oh, sorry, okay, so the orange wire is battery power. The wire beside it, the blue wire, is your headlights. Okay, let me do this one-handed. Oh, hold on. So if I turn the switch off, right, headlights go out, headlights go on. Okay. Now, why do you care about that? Well, you see, that's where we're stealing the power for dash lights, because we're going to bypass this burnt out dimmer switch. So go back to the green wire here. The power going to the switch. No power coming from the switch. Okay. No power at the fuse. So we have power coming in on the orange. Main battery power. The dimmer switch is supposed to do its thing. It's supposed to send dash lights out on the green wire. Alright, so part of my diagnosing is I went ahead, I put my jumper in there again. When the jumper was in, I checked power at the fuse. I had the instrument cluster disconnected. The HVAC controls disconnected. Heater, ventilation, air conditioning, that's what HVAC stands for. And I had the head unit, the stereo, disconnected. I plugged the instrument cluster back in. The fuse stayed good. Dash lights are on. Everything's fine. I plugged the HVAC head unit, this control panel, back in. Everything's fine. I plugged the stereo back in. The fuse blew for the dash lights. The dash lights went out. So whatever's happening in that machine, the magic that was going on, burnt out the dimmer switch over time, the draw, the amps, etc., etc. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut the dash light wire going to the stereo. There you go. If you're in a pinch, you have no dash lights, come in here. You want to diagnose it right away, pull this off. Jumper from the orange to the green. If that fuse blows, then you have a short somewhere. Either unplug your instrument cluster, unplug the HVAC, and unplug the stereo. Replace the fuse. Leave that jumpered. Plug the instrument cluster back in. See if you have dash lights. If you do, fantastic. Plug your HVAC back in. If you have lights, fantastic. Plug your head unit back in your stereo. If that fuse blows, then that's the problem. Cut the freaking wire going to that stereo. Back in here, I found a jump ring, putting power to the dash lights. I found the wire going to the stereo with the head unit. If you see that or not, it's the gray wire. Right there. That's the dimmer function. This stereo lights up fine. Here, I got a 20 amp fuse there, so it's not going to blow the fuse again. It was just enough draw to burn out the dealio face, the frickin' dimmer switch. Hold on, let me plug this back in. So the stereo lights up just fine without that gray wire. See? Dash lights are on, dash lights are off. No change. So if you have no power, with your, of course, you turn your headlights on, obviously. Make sure your dash lights, you know, don't work. Anyway, obviously turn your headlights on and check for power. If there's no power at that fuse, first step, come here. If you have no power coming out off the green, just grab a test light or a multimeter. I know the internet's going to say, hey, you got to use a DVOM. Test lights don't, you know, could damage circuits and shit. Whatever, pal. So, if you have no power coming out of there, but you have main power coming into on the orange wire, then your switch is shot. Turn your headlights on with your dimmer all the way up. You have no power coming off the green wire going to that fuse, then your switch is shot. If you want to confirm your switch is shot, jumper from the orange wire to the green wire. If your dash lights turn on and your fuse powers up, this switch is shot. If you want to bypass your dimmer, patch in to the blue wire to the green wire. The blue wire is your headlight circuit. That's what I'm going to do on this truck. I'm going to take a razor knife. I'm going to trim back the insulation. I'm going to leave the circuit attached. You have to leave it attached in order to have your lights. The jumper from the blue wire to the green wire. And then when I turn my headlights on, my dash lights will work. So that's my dash light dimmer switch bypass solution for the time being. When I get a new switch, and I will get a new switch, I'll cut this wire off, tape it up, go from there. All right, we got it on the bench here. Pull the switch apart. And I'll kind of show you here. There's the dimmer part of it. It's just contacts, and there's little sweepy arms in there. And you think, well, you just clean up the little arms and everything should be good. Everything should fix. Well, if you look, there's a little contacts between them. I don't know if they're resistors or what the heck they are. But I had this apart. I cleaned up all the contacts and it still does not work. But I know she's shot. It's just contacts in there, man. It should work, but it doesn't. Anyway, see that burn? The plastic is melted. You can see that if it focuses. This side, good. That side is all. So I believe that's from the excessive amp draw. I could be completely wrong. But usually when there's melted plastic, it's usually excessive amps, excessive heat. So anyway, I'm assuming, see those little black patches? I don't know if they're some sort of fancy resistors, and I think they might be. They might be a printed resistor. And I'm pretty sure they're burnt out. So there you go. You now know how to bypass this system. There's nothing in there, man, just contacts. I don't know why it doesn't work. But I know it doesn't. So my assumption is those little black strips, some sort of resistor. Anyway. Well, what do you know? Check this out. I was going to cut that gray wire, a dash light wire, right? It's the fourth one over. I was going to cut it on the stereo side. So I went 2, 3, 4. This guy right here. He's not hooked up to anything. But check that out. There's my problem. Focus. There's my problem. This is my dash light wire to the stereo. So I was wrong. The stereo itself did not, over time, draw the amps. Because this wire was shorting out in something. This is my dash light wire That's the gray wire right there. This right here is my problem. That is what took out the dimmer switch. Absolutely, there's where the heat is. That's why that piece is melted. So there we go. Anyway, so there's the problem with this truck anyway. So the chances of you having the exact same problem, exact same issue with yours is pretty slim, but you never know. At least you know what wires, what connector, what. Anyway, I'm gonna carry on with the rest of this truck and go from there. Yeah, my neighbors think I'm nuts by now. Oh, he's talking to himself again. There we go.